Hi, welcome for joining. We are from a company called Orbem, and we are actually a quite young company. We have been existing for more or less 6 years, and we were a startup. Now we consider ourselves a scale-up, and we consider ourselves an industrial MRI pioneer, and we're going to be talking a bit about what this journey has been in terms of software, in terms of quality as well, and what kind of challenges we have had. This is Karla. This is our head of quality engineering in Orbem. My name is Gilberto. I am the head of software in Orbem. And I can start with explaining a bit what the company does at a high level. Our mission is to unleash AI-powered imaging for everything and everyone. And that is a very general concept. But what we're doing in terms of imaging, right now we're working with MRI. So these machines that you generally find in hospitals. But we are taking those machines and repurposing them for the industry. So we use the MRIs, we empower them with AI, and then we want to make an impact in what we call everything and everyone, everything being food. We want to reduce food waste and enable also sustainable food production in the world. And we also want to make an impact in the healthcare industry. As this is a very also blurry concept, we have a video of more or less how it works. That should be working, no? Yes. The very first application that we have in the market is actually within the poultry industry, this being chicken eggs. And why we do this? Right now we do this because if you think about the egg industry, whenever a chick hatches, if it's a female chick, it can lay more eggs in the future, but if it's a male, it cannot lay more eggs. And because of that, the general practice in the industry is that the males are killed just after being born, which is a very unfortunate practice. And if you think about it, this happens simply because we cannot look inside of things. If we were able to look inside of the egg and see if it's a male or a female, we could also stop the development and we could take action earlier. And this is what we're enabling with this solution. If you see, this is a fully automated solution in which eggs are going into a conveyor belt, then they're going through an MRI machine. And after that, we use our AI to make the inference, see if they are males and females, and then we sort them. This is only one example of what this technology could be used for, because if you think about MRI technology, you just can look inside biological things, and then you could classify not only chicken eggs, but you can classify fruits, vegetables, and nuts, seeds, whatever you would like to think about. But we have also restricted ourselves to be working in the food and in health, because that's where we think we can make the most impact. This is obviously a quite complex product. As you can see, it has a lot of moving parts, and Karla will be talking about what challenges this comes from.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me well. So, as you learned from Hill, Orbem has different components that goes from AI models, machine learning, infrastructure, MRI scanners, hardware automation, software, microservices, and so on. So fundamentally, when we deploy to our customers, the system we deploy and the solutions we provide, it is based on the components of this and more, which is great, but at the same time, it is what makes Orbem challenging. And the reason why it's challenging is because we have all these components while revolutionizing MRI. As you saw, we are scanning eggs, and egg production is massive. So when we are a startup company, sometimes you have some margin to make mistakes. But a mistake in poultry, it means that we will be failing to a mass production company, impacting the revenue of these customers. So some of the Orbem challenges it is, how can we run startup companies while delivering a performance of an enterprise company? And that is why our software and quality journey, it is so interesting, which goes from validate market fit, race to meet demand, which has led to technical depths, and we need to address those interests, but that also have taken us to rethinking the way we build systems, and as well we collaborate with each other. There are different ways to do this, and of course we have the software way, but from my side it is how can we build solutions that are scalable, and how can testing contribute to this? And when we work, the work we do at Orbem, it is where we are right now and where do we want to take MRI through revolutionizing it by taking MRI from a healthcare system or a healthcare environment to put it in an industry, and how can we elevate through testing and software practices and MRI practices to deliver the quality that we are looking for. The challenges we have from testing particularly, it is like how can we speed up releases, and how can we speed up and scale our software practices through testing. And as you can see, there are here a few questions that help us to elevate the quality that we want to deliver, to make sure that the risk of the customers is low, and at the same time making sure that we are able to scale and move at the speed we are looking for.
Thanks, Karla. Yes, so Karla was talking about the specific testing challenges that we have. This is also because we're working with real hardware. This is a constraint that we have. And if you think about it, so we have these machines running in customer sites. We were talking about eggs. So you can imagine that these customer sites are hatcheries. They can be also in the middle of nowhere. And our solutions have to account also for this complexity. So we have this hybrid architecture in which we have some things running in the cloud, but we also need some things running in what we call the edge, which is in these customer sites. And one difference also with other IoT solutions is that generally IoT is very light. However, we cannot afford to be very light. As these places are also in the middle of nowhere sometimes, it can be that we cannot, for example, rely on our cloud connection in order to define if something is male or female. We need to do all of our AI inference locally. So these machines have to be generally beefy, and they have to be talking or coordinating a lot of things that happen in the customer side. They're talking to the MRI machines, they receive the data, they're talking to automation systems, we have some printing mechanisms happening. And also the data that we're collecting is super important to us. So this data, if it cannot be uploaded into the cloud for us to retrain our AI models, then we need to store it until we can actually do it. We as a company don't really build these MRI systems because we are a relatively small company, although we are growing. And we also don't build these automation systems. We just integrate all of them. And kind of coordinate. We are doing centralized orchestration. And this starts being a bit more interesting when you think about how different it could be to classify chicken eggs from classifying like a full tray of nuts, right? Maybe some things will change. Maybe the automation system will be different. The MRI will probably still stay the same. We will have different sorting mechanisms, but the general workflow would be very, very similar. You're still just taking things into an MRI scanner, then you scan them, then you classify them, you sort them. And this means that if we want to keep adding impact to the world, what we need to do is to just extract as much as possible from our current application, from innovosexing is what we call it, and we see what we can reuse for our new applications. As Karla was saying, delivering value to our customers early is a very, very high priority to us, but that generally comes with a lot of technical debt, and we need to find a way of doing it, but at the same time maintaining high quality. Platforms, or the concept of a platform, is what we are betting a lot right now in the company for. We are building several internal platforms that allow us, or the bet is that they will allow us to reduce the time to market. If we need to integrate now nuts or seeds or fruits or whatever, such that we can do it with the same level of quality via some platforms, for example, the testing framework that Karla was talking about. And one last point that I have here is the importance that data has for us. If any of you are also data engineers, for example, because if you probably know that in order to build any AI model, you need a lot of data. However, it's not like you can find a lot of public data sets for X in MRI or for nuts in MRI or anything like that. So all of this data has to be gathered by ourselves. And this obviously is very challenging because we have to be getting those nuts or those eggs in the first place. But at the same time, this is what gives us our main competitive advantage, right? Because we right now have the biggest data set in MRI that is not related to healthcare, which can be applied to food industry. And as such, we have to take care of this data as much as we can. So we were talking about a lot of challenges that we have as a company. Because of the complexity of our product. And we don't really see these challenges as obstacles. What we do see them as invitations to try to solve these problems in a way that has not been solved before. MRI traditionally has been a technology that has been used only in the healthcare industry. We have been able to rethink that. And this allows us to create an impact or like a real world difference that is also done in a different way. And we're very committed to that. We are very committed to turn these challenges into impact. And for that, we need talent, and that's why also we are here. Without people, we cannot really turn these challenges into impact. So if we really want to shed light into this world's toughest challenges, if we want to make an impact in healthcare and in reducing food waste, we can really use your help. So feel free to take a look at our open positions. And that's it from my side. I think we're good. Thank you. Do you have any questions? Yes. Yes.
So since you use MRIs as your main method to detect male or female eggs, but when it comes to a fruit, you don't have to use MRI. You can use other means to detect that a fruit is ripe or raw. Would you switch out your business logic from MRIs to another method, or would you be hard and fast with MRIs?
That's a very good question because. Sorry. So we're using MRI. We don't necessarily have to use only MRI. There's easier ways probably to just detect if food is ripe or it's good or not good, right? Yes, we are not limited to MRI only. So we want to stay in AI-powered imaging. However, we do see that the complexity of MRI and the advantage that we have in that regard can give us extra information that other kind of sensing technologies cannot give us. In the future, it could be that we define some products that are only other technologies, but right now we do see a very strong competitive advantage in the MRI side. Probably the next steps will be to kind of empower the MRI technology with other things. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I have a question. Do you use frameworks, pre-built frameworks like TensorFlow, or do you have your own neural net?
For the neural nets, so we are using standard models. And in order to train these models, we are using already made frameworks. We're trying to not reinvent the wheel so much, but most of the models that you could find already pre-trained and so on are more for other kind of dimensionalities, right? You're for 2D images, for example, and it's not something that we can reuse so easily. There are some models that are for MRI data, however, they have not been proving so useful for us. So we generally use the ideas that are already there in the industry. We kind of adapt them to the use case.
Okay, any other questions? I'll bring the microphone so you can instantly answer. Perfect.
Hello, thanks for your talk. I'm curious why you settled on MRI as a starting modality instead of something cheaper like just X-ray radiography or something.
Yes, that's a good question. I think it was also a lot of serendipity because also the founders of the company were doing, two of them, a PhD in MRI. And they also at the same time understood the need in the poultry industry because of another serendipitous thing. So it was a matter of coincidence. On the other side, the fact that it's a complex technology meant that it had not been industrialized before, right? Which gave other types of opportunities at the same time.
I want to add to that question with why MRI is because as well, when you are scanning things, you need to make sure you are doing it in a not invasive way, because otherwise, there are other technologies that yes you can use, but making sure that you are being non-invasive, it allows to have more a clear technology or a clear solution or manipulation of the objects that we are scanning. So as well, that is a big advantage for us to do it.
Hi, I'm interested in your innovation processes or funnel, maybe in a little more depth. So how can I imagine it? And how many different use cases are you looking in parallel or exploring at the moment? And your approach, is it more object-based? So are you starting with eggs and then think about the various applications that might come from an egg, or is there a different way?
There are different ways to do it, but as you know, MRI are not cheap. So for that reason, we rely on our business team to understand what is the market that we are going to do and what objects we are going to scan. Because when we decide that through the business, at business level, then we need to start collecting data. And for that, it requires partnership with someone that they will be sending us the data for us to scan and be able to start relating what is inside of the object with what we are seeing. Like if we are scanning something and it's damaged, we need to start doing the annotation to that. And yeah, so the innovation, of course, comes, but it is always or tends to be derivated from our business needs. And we need to be very sure because, as I said, we are scaling, but the performance needs to be as if we are an enterprise company. Because if we imagine we are not classifying properly things, that can be a massive issue for the clients and as well for us as consumers. So there are some ethical choices and business choices that needs to happen for us to satisfy that.
All right, thank you. Any other questions in the crowd?
You mentioned healthcare. So what prospects do you see there in healthcare?
Yes, so we are a very impact-driven company, as also Karla was saying, and we know from the beginning that this is the areas that we want to go to. We know that we want to go to healthcare. It is way more blurry what specifically we want to do. In the last 2 years, there has been way more effort into defining what is what we want to do. We have some strategic direction to take there. Next year, we will probably start building some POCs. But we know, so if we kind of classify the impact that we want to do on people, well, healthcare is the most direct. So that's why we are very sure that we want to go into that space. However, which specific biomarkers we're targeting is not yet clear. And next year we want to start answering that way more concretely.
All right, thank you. I think that's it for today. We have to move on. Thank you very much to you two. Thank you very much to you guys for being here.